I guess it's on.
Very humbling. Because I knew I tons of work.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you all for coming. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'd like to make a comment.
Sure.
This is in relation to check number 22929, general fund August. I'm trying to get an understanding of what the, master plan, who's working on the master plan, back in February, we approved 50 hours for master plan work. As of the end of June, we were at 52 hours. At the end of July, there's been an additional 16 hours, and I don't know if that's been approved. And I'm guessing there might be an additional 8 hours, so there's 50% over it.
Okay, so, well, I know they're getting a lot done on the master plan right now, so you're talking, this is Dr. Townsend's pay for doing the, master plan.
I actually have two papers, so we've got,
Okay.
like where we're at.
Is it very helpful to have him keep doing what he's doing?
It is.
Okay.
So how much more is he gonna do, and where do we see an end to this?
See, now I'm in the master plan, thing.
He'll be there to the end.
2219.
So how many chapters do you think there's gonna be?
I don't know, I know it's gonna be less than what there is now.
And how many has?
We're at chapter 4 now, so, and I mean, that's, instead of being that thick, it's, you know, it's just gonna really simplify it down.
Some of these hours that he accumulated were before we had the board that we have now that is moving, correct? I mean, and they're moving and they're being efficient. You're also on the board, did you feel it's efficient to have Ben do?
Very much
Dr.
so.
Townsend?
Plus, we will be doing an open meeting, which will open, I think you did approve the money for Mary Riley. But she will be coming to do, a public meeting, and we're hoping to do that in October, I would think, because we start getting into November, December. But we need to have that where she gives input. I'm just hoping she'll be available, because she's also doing the training. So, but yes, it's been very much, Ben's been putting it together. It gives us a chance of working with it and actually seeing it, and then giving feedback, and then the public will get a chance to give feedback on it before it's finally done.
Okay.
But I'm guessing 8 chapters, but don't quote me, I'm not off the top of my head what topics are left, but I know there will be one that we have to fill out that's a requirement of housing. It's a separate, it used to be able to be interwoven,
Yep.
but now it's a requirement, so that's a brand new.
So you're saying he's at 52, correct, right now?
No, he's on 52 plus 16 plus 8, and 76.
Alright, let's move that to agenda item number 3. Whether we want to continue or approve more hours for Dr. Townsend to continue doing what he's doing with the master plan. Okay.
We want to approve the,
I need to do a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Make that.
with the addition of what?
Addition number 2. The new business. Jason, you second that? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Alright. So let's go right on to reports. Fire department, Chief Scott.
Not a lot, I just wanna thank everybody who came out and voted in favor of the fire and ambulance millage. It passed again this year, fire was a little close than what we like. But I'd like to thank everybody who put their votes in to support the fire department, and, we're doing the best we can do with the hands that we're being dealt right now, so, it's been, we kinda nicknamed it the Wild West out here lately. It's been bumper cars and you name it, it's been happening, so, thank you, everybody. Any questions, feel free to get a hold of me at the fire department or stop it.
Okay.
I'd like
Go ahead.
to make a comment on, fire ambulance, is that ambulance combined?
What's that?
Are we doing both fire and ambulance?
Yeah.
So, we've had some billing related questions that don't seem to be resolved. Is there any way that I can get permission to talk to Mike Mannix or somebody to resolve June and, what was it, June and May and June? Yeah, the July one, we had, that seemed to be fine.
And we're working on that. It's when the billing company redid their program, we got cut out of it. So I have not been getting the emails, and so we're working on getting that set back up so that I get the email so that I know what's going on also. And so we're trying.
Yeah, and I think it's working out better. I mean, it balanced. I mean, I saw
As
that
long as
they,
the balance is the main thing.
well, the deposits were made, that they indicated were made.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the ones in May and June that we paid them the percentage, but there's nothing that shows that those deposits have been made.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ann's got a note on that, and we'll,
Got it.
it's the never ending headache with billing stuff. So, but we're trying.
Alright, okay, assessors report, building permits are all done, we'll be checking on these first. 20% is getting underway of the rechecks, and we did a PRE audit, and we found 10 people that did not have PREs, that we're trying to help get those, so that will save them. A lot of people, especially when they move up from places other than Michigan, don't understand what the PRE form is, so we've been able to help you that way. Tim, you got anything?
No, just that I got the bumpers on the docks back on.
Okay.
Screws, bigger screw heads, so they hopefully will stay on this time. Otherwise, that's it.
Okay.
Sorry. I had a question about, lighting. We talked about holiday lighting. I don't know if that really falls under you, Tim, sorry. We talked about getting that road lighting or something. Is that something you're still gonna do?
We haven't really talked about it since that one meeting. Tim and I can talk about that, see what we can find, put that road light out.
It would be nice to do it before snow.
Yeah, maybe we'll get something together for next month.
Just to ask, you know?
Permanent lights, yeah, the little LEDs that just strip up there, that just are right underneath the patient, so.
When is those gonna go up?
Hopefully I'm gonna start the.
I got,
This week.
I got something, I'll talk to you on that.
Okay.
I didn't hear, but I think she said Bill's spot.
Yeah.
I'll, if you got time afterwards, I got some info on something that might interest you.
Okay. Sounds good. You got anything on the transfer station, Tim, or that's pretty much those hot?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything. Keep throwing trash in and taking it away.
Management council, not much going on. Something on the picnic area on August 14th, a rehearsal dinner on the 30th, and still just waiting on the floors, which I'm waiting on the floors, for him to give us an available date when he can get in and get it done. So I will try to make a recall, and another call to him this week and get that done for me. So, Parks and Rec, Jordan, got anything?
Not a lot. Talked with Tim, so the picnic tables that are down at Robbins Landing are probably better than what we have in the park. They got the good steel frames under them, because it's the stuff that the Forest Service put in, so we're just gonna put imports on what's there, and that should keep consumers happy.
Okay. Still gonna buy 2 new tables, all right?
Yeah.
All right, planning, anything else, Jay, besides what you kinda already hit over on the?
Well, I wasn't there the last 2 times, I had other things going on. So, I'm assuming that they are moving along with the master plan, considering what I found in my mailbox. So, let's just continue working on that, and I think we have a meeting coming up in 2 weeks,
The 18th.
the 18th.
For planning, we moved to the fourth
Fourth Tuesday.
Tuesday,
it's
so,
two-
so it's the fourth Tuesday.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Well, 2 weeks though, yeah.
yep,
Alright, I gotta change that then, I'm
That's
sorry.
what I'm doing right now.
yep.
27th.
6 o'clock on the fourth Tuesday. And then we should, well, no, cause we'll change, cause Star's gonna, we set the calendar according to the members being able to be, plus being able to balance with getting information to you. So, right now it's the fourth Tuesday, and everybody gets comfortable with that. It may change, cause we'll have at least 1 new person.
I have a comment, probably for Jason. This is our power plant reimburses, I was talking to you about that during government here. They reimburse 1 citizen planner. Here's the information, there's the application. No, you have to do it in advance of them taking the course, so.
So if you could do that under Doug, when we talked about that, the county has money left in the budget and spend it or lose it is kind of the thing, so they're gonna pay mine, and they'll
Okay.
pay 100% of it.
So we need
So
to-
they're gonna take care of mine.
So we need
the
to
county
set-
is.
That's good,
so-
because I had assumed that it was it would cover half of everybody, but when I was starting to reread some of it, 1 person at 100%, so if you get yours covered from there.
Yeah, yeah.
Doug would have it for that one, that's great.
Yeah, cause I had done up my sheet and Katie just said, we've got the money, I'm taking it, I need to spend this. And then you put it on Doug's and then Star doesn't need it because she's moving to a different role. So.
Is there something for them to put out on that?
I don't think.
No, and the application has to be either online or typed in,
That-
no handwritten, right, that, you can't have that handwritten.
Right, so we have to go on that site
Right.
in order to do it.
Right, and there's just
Okay.
more information around
Oh,
that.
I will, matter of fact, I'll drop this off to Doug tomorrow. And then he'll know what he has to do, and he'll go on and,
Okay. sounds
I'll
good.
stop in tomorrow, I'll talk to Doug.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, okay, so it looks like we have a lot of people here, we know what it's gonna be about, probably the ORV issues, so is there anybody signed up for public comment right now? Is there a public
No.
comment? No.
Okay.
So if, anybody, let's keep it all to 3 minutes so we can move quickly. Let's handle any issues outside the ORV issue first, okay? And then I wanna let Sheriff Gutowski talk. Once that, he'll kind of start us, I don't know, how do you wanna do that? Do you wanna talk first so you can get going, or do you wanna kind of just be here to answer questions?
I'd rather hear what the concerns are from
Okay.
the people in attendance, and I'm happy to address, their thoughts and comments.
Hey, Brad? See Brad.
Who's that?
The road commissioner didn't make.
Oh.
No, I don't see him, okay. He didn't know if he was gonna be able to or not, but okay, check him, okay. So, let's start with any public comment that is not concerning ORVs, and then we'll move into ORVs if there is. Anybody got anything? Okay, oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
That's you, all right.
I just have one, and I just wanted to kind of confirm, I think that you were maybe looking at an ordinance so that for elections, there's not signs for anybody
Yes.
on the township property.
Hopefully that'll be on the next community agenda.
Okay, because, you know, that, I think, takes away from, and what I remember many, many years ago is that we obviously, when we're talking 100 feet, we were measuring it off the township property because it was Mary Lou Smith's property, that was where the signage went, like when I was doing school board, and I know when Judge Bruner ran, he was measuring off of that, so we obviously were under the understanding it was off of the townships. So just making sure that's clear that it's off the township.
We're gonna clarify, on my way home from UP last week, I got a hold of, Thomas Greer, and we're looking into that, and he's looking into writing that up for us, so. Yep.
Thank you.
All right, okay, ORV, let's move into that, if that's where we're at. Where's the gentleman? There you go. You wanna start us off here?
Sure.
Okay.
I was here last month, but I'll just kind of briefly explain what we're looking at. I'm Tim Knoper, president of the Benzee Manistee Dirtbirds. We're an ORV club up in Kelva. We're under we're a subcommittee of the Snowbirds. We're working on creating some ORV routes within Benzee, Manistee, and Wexford County. ORVs are already here, and the Dirtbirds were formed to get something started to, actually we started last year, and in hopes of that we could work with townships, the villages, the county, DNR, Forest Service, to come up with a desired route to kind of funnel all the ORVs in kind of one area, so all the roads don't get tore up. We don't have ORVs going where they're not supposed to. So we're working with townships and the villages to come up with these routes. The most desired route that, you know, like the township would agree on. And by doing this, then we can create a map for all those that ride ORVs, and let them know this is what the township would like you to do, where they'd like you to ride if you're going through, or if you're going into a village to get gas or food. This is the desired route. Most of the roads here in Norman Township are open. And then we also were formed to let ORV riders know what the law is, what the township ordinances are. In the last 3-4 months, a lot of that's been changing quite rapidly. A lot of the riders can't keep up on what the new law and new ordinances are, so we try to keep up on that and inform our club members. Most of us, we want to abide by the law. We want to ride where we can. We don't want to ride on private property or where we're not supposed to. There are, and many of them, you know, they just don't know what the law is or what the ordinances are. So, and then there are a few out there that abuse the roads. They don't follow the law. For whatever reason, they don't care. And that includes both locals and downstaters. It's not more one group than the other. So the Dirtbirds, we have a monthly club meeting. And, one of our main focuses on our meeting is to discuss the law, the rules, and how to respect the community. So we're doing our part to try to educate the community, the ORV world. Obviously, those that really don't care about the law and the rules, it's hard to educate them, us to educate them, and that's where we're hoping that we can work with law enforcement to, maybe these people need a few tickets and a few fines to get their education that way. I guess, yeah, any comments, questions?
Can you answer a couple of questions?
Sure.
So the one dispute's always been, and a lot of rumors going on about High Bridge. How much is that open now?
High Bridge is open over the bridge from
House Road, right?
from river to house. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So will that close when school opens back up, or is that just temporary, or?
No, actually the township, Dixon Township.
I know they approved it, but did the DNR and the state police, because they give a lot of tickets crossing that bridge.
They did up until they got opened up, but maybe they're getting tickets because they are not abiding by the law, where they're supposed to ride on the road, or the speed limit's 25.
And I get asked that a million times, about that stretch through there.
Yeah. Yeah, we're pushing hard on the speed limit, and
That just changed recently. For those who don't know, the road commission took action and opened up all the roads other than the M or US roads that they had closed through the road commission. And what they said was, if the township wants to close roads in their township, they would have to amend their ordinance and close those roads. The road commission took that action a couple of months ago. And they opened up all the roads that they closed. The only roads that you can't ride unless the township has closed them are the US or M roads. M55, US 31,
All right, so does that mean that High Bridge is open from more than from Bus House to River?
actually, just recently, the township decided to open up everything, Dixon Township.
Dixon.
It originally was just from river to school,
Yeah,
but just,
because I live a mile past that.
yeah, just recently, like, not, less than a week ago, they opened up everything.
Okay.
To my knowledge, Norman Township closed no roads, other than what the state had already closed.
High Bridge.
So High Bridge is
High Bridge
closed,
is
High Bridge is closed by the county, not us.
Right, right, but that, I believe that's on your ORV ordinance, that is, on the township ordinance, that's closed, so technically,
No, it's not. We made sure, because we did not like what Lake County did as far as riding, that we adopted the state ordinance as written. And we abided by whatever county roads were closed. We did not close anything additional in the township. I know we were the ones who passed it here, so. We did not stop any of that. So that's a question we have to see. We can figure that out, by asking the county. But to me, if the county kind of waived their closures, I would think that would take care of our closures too.
Yeah.
Closing.
I think we did make some corrections to the map, and that was to close out the private roads
Yeah,
that were identified as open.
The subdivisions and
Right,
stuff
yeah,
like
that
that.
are
That's
private
all
roads,
we.
but that was
private
really the
roads.
only adjustment.
So, does anybody else want to comment on this situation? Go ahead.
So if you've received support from Norman Township, what actually is the benefit to the township, the community, for having a dedicated run, per se?
keeping ORVs in one area easier to police. I know not everybody's gonna follow the routes.
Any monetary benefits for like a dedicated trail, maybe open up some additional grant funding?
Yeah,
possibly?
there'll be grants. Actually, we're applying for grants too for road maintenance.
Okay, so that,
Oh, yeah,
okay.
yep.
So you, I see a map up there, is that, you got it mapped out for where you're wanting to do the dedicated trips?
That's our proposed route. It's not set in stone. And that's what we're going to all the townships with a map. This is what we were thinking. Do you like it, or do you wanna change it, or?
And the only thing you're asking from Norman Township Board is just support.
A letter of support, yes. Yeah.
Sounds simple.
Let me explain their proposed route. It might be easier so we can answer questions. And I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but this is the best map I have. Okay, so they don't really enter Norman Township until the end of Baker Road, or what we know as the Tunk Hole, okay? The power line that they run from Low Bridge, which is Tower Line Road, or what is Old House Road, that's the dirt road part that comes out, that's in Dixon Township. A lot of people don't understand that Norman Township doesn't start to Old House Road. We don't start to here, we don't go to the river, okay? So they come out the Tunk Hole opening at the end of Baker Road here. They run down Old House. They go a little bit on Snyder Road here, okay? And to me, that's a problem area because that is very narrow and blow sand, okay? Then they run down what they call Tower Line Road, which is the power line that runs along the backwaters. They run that all the way to M55, and Deputy Chief, sorry, didn't you find an issue with that because it runs on some consumers' property that might be a problem?
Right at Robinson Landing.
I asked Chief to look into that because that road is completely open, but he says no, that road is actually power line property right there, so that could be an issue. Consumers could become a block to this route. Because this little block, I'm gonna get the right spot right here, is Consumers Power, okay? And then it runs on the forestry down here. It crosses M55 and goes onto what we call Low Bridge Road, okay? Then it runs to what most people call Laverne Road, but it's really not. So as you're going down Low Bridge Road and start going down a hill, it's actually called South Tower Line Road, okay? It goes up a hill, it's maybe a 1-lane road, and it goes up a pretty steep hill. That's another problem area for us, because that hill washes out. Mr. Fraley here can talk about that, because he's had to plow that thing and work on that thing different
And I
times.
plow that in the winter time.
Yep.
And, it gets to be a big mess.
Yep.
There.
And then
if you have 100 machines that are going up that hill,
it's gonna
that's
damage
gonna
it
be a
quite
big.
How many machines?
Well, if you have
Over a weekend.
if you have a lot of machines going up, in a big line, that's gonna,
I thought that was blocked off at one time.
No, there's people that live there. That's access to their house. There's
Okay.
2 homes there's actually 1 or 2 permanent residents.
Yeah,
Plus
there's
they
2
just built a
houses
brand new.
on Laverne Road. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Then it goes down South Tower Line Road, Laverne Road, all the way to Stronach Dam Road, where at the end of it, where Stronach Dam comes out. Once again, a very narrow road, not well built. Then it goes to Bow Road. That still is the same blow sand type of small type road. Goes down Bow to, I thought it went Connolly, but it doesn't go Connolly. You said you have a forestry trail that you run from Bow Road to the east to Peacock Road, run Peacock Road to Hoxeyville Road, Hoxeyville to Peacock again south to 12 mile out, and 12 Mile is a shared road between Norman Township, or Manistee County, and Lake County. So damage on that road will be an issue because which county's gonna pay for it? I don't know. Some counties just say, I'll maintain it, or I won't
That
maintain
section
it.
of 12 Mile though,
Mhm.
when you get to Maryville Road,
Yeah,
that turns into just a 2-track.
yeah.
And then heads straight out to, so.
Well, I think it comes down here, this is another area that I'm not thrilled with, Chalker Road here. Has anybody ever been on Chalker Road in the spring? Or in the rain?
I have.
Chalker Road's a washboard. It's really muds out bad.
Is that the one that they've got to the cemetery, or the one that goes the other way?
Yeah, you're talking 12 mile down back to Hoxeyville
Yeah, it's,
and then out.
it's junk.
So that is a road, and and we're not saying the road's bad, actually the road's really wide. It's really wide. But it's a clay road. Has very little sand, very little gravel on it, so when it gets really muddy and run it up really bad. So that's their proposal, and that's all I'm gonna say. For now, everybody understand their proposed route. Okay? We're not saying no, we gotta figure a good route for this to make this happen. Okay? Any questions?
I thought there were 2.
So Rich, the South Tower Line Road where it comes up on 55,
Yes.
the reason why they opened the gates, because 2 attorneys sued them.
Well, no, that's not South Tower Line Road.
That's
This is
listed
Tower
on
Line
the
Road.
county map as South Tower Line Road.
South Tower Line Road is what we call, when you go down Low Bridge Road to the north, to the south, and you go up the hill. That's what they call South, most of us call it Laverne Road. I've always called it Laverne Road, but it's not. It's actually South Power, because the road commissioner and I ran a lot of these roads. So, that's where we're at, and I'm not saying it's a bad route, I'm just saying there's some problem areas that that would become a major issue for us to take care of. And it is up to the township to pay for those repairs. Right? When the road gets so bad outside of grading, we pay for that. We don't have a road village, so if y'all want, we can wrap a road village and start taking care of that stuff. Grants are nice, but how long are they gonna be there, and will you get them? So, we have to be careful, and here's the other thing. As a politician, I could risk like 5 votes, because most of those are non-resident properties out there. But I don't believe that we dictate doing things because they're weak in numbers. Not weak in spirit, but weak in numbers because there's not a lot of them. There's not gonna be a lot of pushback. That's not fair to them either. So we gotta make sure that the roads that we're gonna have this on are gonna be able to be maintained and taken care of, and law enforcement will see them. So that's my comment for right now. Who else would like to talk? Anybody else?
Real quick.
Mr. Amelia.
So I did see on the board when they were originally planned that it was supposed to go past like Dublin General Store and like other businesses in Norman Township, but looking at that route, it looks like they go past like Dublin General.
There's a spur that goes into Dublin.
There's Dublin's right there, but not the road where they're across, so.
Yeah, there's a spur there.
So yeah, from Peacock.
Yeah, and we did have on our map, alternate proposed route.
Well, the alternate proposal, okay, so the alternate route is Baker Road, which, talking with the road commissioner when we went out there, Baker Road, sorry, I bring it upside down. Baker Road right here, the Tongue Pole, right here, sorry. Baker Road is one of the best built, structurally wise dirt roads in the township. It's crowned, it drains. Where Seaman and Snyder, we have all kinds of problems because they have the country curves. This thing is actually the best road. It comes up here and crosses 55, goes out Stronach Dam. Stronach Dam can be a washboard road. Goes to Snyder Road, goes a little to the south, and goes down Connolly Road. Connolly Road's not a road. It is a 2-track. It will not survive, and there's people that live down there and have access to their property. They can barely get, I wouldn't take my car down there. So Connolly, I don't think that works.
Well, that's actually, that's kind of what we're looking for, to stay off-road, because these are off-road vehicles, and then, that is a seasonal road.
That's what?
It is a seasonal road.
It is a seasonal road, but it's a road that I have to grant access to the taxpayers that live on.
Okay.
We have, I'm sorry.
A lot of that's a snowmobile trail. What happens in the wintertime?
And people, we have to understand, snowmobiling is a thing of the past.
It's slowing down bad.
It's slowing down bad. I understand why the state wants this. You know, they talk about businesses and generating income. Well, so let's just let everybody continue to talk. Okay, who's next?
So why do we actually have to have a proposed route? Because Dixon's open, Norman Township has their own ordinance rules. We already have ORVs running around. So what exactly, I mean, if we, because obviously there's problem areas in those routes where, you know, narrow roads, washout. Why do we need proposed roads or routes?
Being the president, I get many phone calls all week long. What's the best way to get from, just an example, Wellston to Thompsonville? There's a lot of different ways to get there. Sure. But riders want to know the desired route. Which way are they going to have less issues with residents? Where's the least amount of houses?
Like a snowmobile trail, man.
It would be posted,
It's
though,
just-
right? Would it be posted like a
Yes,
snowmobile trail?
yes, it'll be posted, we'll have maps, so it's just to give
It would get them off 55 too.
What?
It would get riders off 55.
Well, not only
Well, we're not supposed to
that.
ride
Hey,
it.
no, we got no. Okay. Have you, you're gonna kind of stand up because you're gonna answer the questions on that. Who else would like to speak? We can't, yes.
I would like to know, is there a speed limit on
It's
this?
25.
25.
Okay, because I'd heard that there was no speed limit.
Oh, no,
so-
there is.
Okay, and then I guess to answer the question of why a proposed route, when Norman opened up for RVs to ride through town, it was like if I wanna go to the post office, or I wanna go to the grocery store, I wanna go to M55, or I wanna, they didn't sign on to be trails. And living in town, I didn't sign on to be in a trail, and we are a trail right now, and they are not driving 25. And they're up and down, I don't know, there's
Just
something
try to-
about,
Always try to look at us.
yeah,
It doesn't come
sorry,
personal.
I was just, yeah, cause I don't understand the, you know, the up and down. And so I like the idea that they have a trail, because that's what they're lacking, is they don't have anywhere to go, except up and down.
Well, you know, and that is a huge issue, and this still isn't trail. This is still using a lot of our local roads.
Right.
And,
but it's
and when I say
getting away from
trail, it's not the trail that you think about in the UP, that you can do circles for hours and never get on, you know, a road. So, yeah. Who else? Anybody else would like to speak on the order? Yes, sir.
The speed limit 25, is that no matter where they're at, it's 25 miles?
On a road.
On the road.
That includes seasonal roads, forest roads. If it's a road, it's
Okay.
25, yep.
All right.
Anyone else? Where? Oh, sorry. Oh,
I was
I'm
just
sorry.
saying, I mean, I do live along the road too, so I mean, I'll deal with the traffic, but I just think it's a good idea to funnel people in the places that they should be. And even if some of the areas are more problem areas, at least you have a better idea where the traffic's going to be. Most of those roads I go through quite regularly and they get tore up as it is. 12 miles already a marked trail, so 12 mile will be the same as always. But as a business owner in the area, I like it because signed route, increased tourism. I mean, I make my living off of vacationers, so.
Okay. Anyone else want to talk about this? Because I want to ask the sheriff a couple things here. And him and I, we had a conversation, we agreed, and then we disagreed on some things. In Norman Township, the bulk of our police presence is probably along the M55 corridor, Snyder Road, no, Seaman Road, sorry, to Hoxeyville and down Snyder, correct?
I would say that's fairly accurate.
Bow Road, Christensen Road, that power line, unless we get a grant that has an ORV officer, which I see there's problems with that, because when that grant goes out, does he have to fire one of his officers? I don't know how that works. And that's what I'd like you to speak to on that as far as the policing. I just feel like where they're at is, I get it, but how many of you have traveled on Bow Road, Conley Road, those roads? They're gonna treat those, not all, the few bad apples are gonna treat those as trails that they can ride as fast as they want, and they're gonna tear those roads up, and those roads aren't built well. That's my only concern. I do not want to make victims out of people that live there because they're few in numbers, and they're gonna not complain much to me. That's not fair to them. So, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. If you've heard me speak ever, you've heard me say that we're an under-policed community. My complaint numbers at my office have gone up significantly over like the last 3 years. And we haven't expanded the amount of deputies that we have. We don't have, I see Sergeant Myers here, not to call you out. We don't have a position like he occupies in Lake County where you have a dedicated ORV patrol. We've never really needed it, right? I think, like Mary Becker Witt said, when this was passed, it was kind of, hey, we can use our ORVs to go to the store, we can use them to run to our friend's house or get somewhere close by. This is going to, I think, it's positive for the business owners, right? To bring more people in the community. It allows that connection between Lake County, who has a really thriving ORV community, and some of the communities up north. But I think that's all good, and it's not my place as the sheriff to say you should or shouldn't do this. But as far as patrolling, we don't have an ORV at the sheriff's office. We know access-wise, trying to get to some of these places might be a little bit difficult at times. That's stuff I'm certainly willing to entertain trying to build up, but I asked for 2 additional spots in our budget, for this budget cycle, and that was the first thing that was taken out, where there's 2 additional positions, because and I have a commissioner sitting here, so I'll say this right in front of the pot of money's only so big, and there's only so much we can work with, so, I don't think there's anybody in this room who wouldn't like to see our cars here more often, other than just on the 55 Seaman Road, Hoxeyville Road areas. But it's really hard because my staff typically is going call to call. So to do proactive patrol is something that we don't always get a whole lot of time to do just because of our complaint line. The state police are here, but they're not here consistently, and they don't backfill shifts. So if a state trooper is supposed to be working in Manistee County and they call out sick, or they have to go to training, or they got to run to Lansing or the Cadillac Post because their car is breaking down, they don't fill that shift. It just goes empty. And it just goes back to our deputies who are here patrol. We do have the DNR, so there's 2 DNR officers who work Manistee County exclusively, and I know, talking with Nikki, that's typically who people on ORVs run into, is our DNR officers that are out patrolling. Again, the difficult part on the enforcement side in Manistee County, and I'm not sure how it is in Lake County, every township has an ordinance, and every ordinance is different. So the difficult part for my deputies is if they see an ORV, without pulling out the book of 10,000 pages with every township's ordinance, flipping through, which by the time that ORV is gone, right, before we know if they're actually violating the ordinance or not. It's really difficult when every township is different. So I'm kind of jumping around here a little bit, but I just want you to understand some of the difficulties we have at the sheriff's office with enforcing some of this stuff. Because I don't have somebody who's dedicated just to ORV patrol where they can learn the ordinances for each individual township and have a really good grasp on enforcing. Certainly willing to do whatever the community wants and try to build up that level or that position in our office, but as of right now, I'm trying to get enough people to cover the calls and address the 3 calls I get a week for people speeding in different locations in the county. And it's tough to do at my current staffing level. So just 100% transparency and honesty. I'm happy to answer any questions you have about that or anything I've said. Go ahead.
Do you know how long it took? Because I mean, at one time, obviously Lake County faced this issue, this very same issue.
I'm sure, yeah.
So do we know how long it took before they were able to pass whatever ordinances and get the money for the ORV officer?
Sarge, you mind if I pick that here?
Sure.
Do you have a uniform county ordinance for RVs? Or
Yes, so really, you guys, that's the key moving forward. The township, I would hope, would think about that. And the thing is, so we're a countywide ordinance in Lake County. What that means is all the rules are the same for every township, no matter what township you're in. Speed limits, lights, furthest to the right of the roadway, all of that is very consistent. The only thing that was different is when we first started in 2009, we had some townships who weren't on board yet. It's gonna be the Wild West. So on our map, they were gray. You couldn't go there, and if you were there, they were part of our countywide ordinance, we enforced it as such, we're in a closed area. Now that we're all open, my suggestion is that way. What that does is that also makes it easier for the sheriff. What that will do is generate, the law is clear under 81131, from state law, it allows municipalities, I can go crazy about this, I'll try and be brief. It allows 50% to the road commission and 50% to the sheriff's department of a citation. So all of our citations are $250 no matter what you're doing. If you don't have your lights on, you're speeding, it doesn't matter, they're all $250. After the courts get their part of it, basically it comes down to $83 for the road commission and $83 for the sheriff's department, and it's also under state law clear as to where that money, how it can be used. So it can be used for enforcement on the sheriff's side and education, and it can be used for road maintenance due to ORV stuff on the road commission side. So my recommendation is go that route. It's not rocket science. Our guys that are non-certified officers are get $20 an hour, and I have 4 of them, but they're also cross-trained in Marine and snowmobile. So I don't have a whole pile of people, it doesn't sound like that. So $20, do the math. The startup money is the hard part, to answer your question. The startup money is the hard part, as far as when you get them going, but rocket science, I mean, 3 hours, when a guy writes 1 ticket, covers about 3 hours of his wages. Got some FICA stuff and all kinds of stuff to come out of that, but I'm just making a rough estimate there. So That's my thing, is if there is a commissioner in the room, I mean, if it was me and the sheriff, and I would say move towards countywide ordinance. It does take some things, basically you guys would have to repeal and take your ordinance out and gone, and opt into a countywide ordinance. It sounded like, there is some support for that, maybe at the county level, but, I was at a couple meetings, I try not to interject myself, but if you want me to come in, I'm more than happy to do so. And the other thing is, that's an advantage, is you don't have to use MPOL's officers anymore, certified like myself. I was part of the bill that just passed to match ORV to snowmobile 40-hour class, Marine 40-hour class, and that's what any citizen in here, kind of, sort of, can go and take this 40-hour class, and we can have them be a sheriff's deputy, a Marine deputy, and the only powers they have is to enforce those particular acts and an ordinance under the sheriff's deputization. So we put that class on this year. I developed that entire course for ORV, and we had 10 counties, 2 from the UP and from the lower, so we had 10 counties. I had 15 guys that are now trained to do that. We're going to do that yearly now with the backing of the Michigan Sheriff Association, and it's a new avenue. And I'm working on with a state representative, mandatory ORV education right now. I just talked with a state representative who wants to try and get that bill going. So that means everyone from a certain age up will have to have ORV education. What it'll look like? Baby steps right now. But that will force everybody to at least take Bob's 4 out of 5 stops, I don't know, is on a Saturday. You will know when we're done. So hopefully that answers it.
Yeah, I'm sorry about putting you on the spot.
No, you're fine. That's actually why I'm here. I'm not here for anyone or anything necessarily, more to just be a resource if I can be.
No, you actually gave some nice information there.
Back there. So is that kind of like policing yourselves then? You have ORV guys who go through training and kind of like see something, say something type thing?
These are paid employees by the Sheriff's Department. They are regular deputies. They enforce these ORV laws just like they do Marine and snowmobile. Actually, I have guys that are cross-trained now for all 3. So they have a year-round part-time job.
Right. Well, and what I was kind of thinking with Brian, what he was saying is like low staff, everything like that. You guys want the trails so bad. I mean, is there any way you can police your own, or kind of, or if things get too crazy, we can shut it down?
So that's the education component.
Right.
I'm a member of the Dirtbirds now, and I will tell you that I feel confident in the message they're delivering. You gotta start small, you gotta start somewhere. Sure. The message they're delivering to their members is, or else I wouldn't be there, we're gonna follow the laws, and when we go out on our rides, we're gonna follow the laws, and hopefully that's contagious.
Mm-hmm.
That's the educational component in the early innings.
Right.
This route, like he said, basically, I mean, you can already go do this if you want right now, okay? Mm-hmm. The thing is I feel like so many other else already said over here, I don't wanna say we're concentrating them into an area, but it gives random riders a place to go.
Right, but what Rich is worried about is tearing everything up, right?
Right.
So how can everybody work together without taking police resources and everything like that? You know what I'm saying?
Yep. The education component really is the key to this.
Right. Because I think that's the biggest thing people are worried about, is tearing things up. And so there's got to be some kind of compromise, right? It's either if we agree to do this, then what would the Dirtbirds do to make sure that we don't have to invest so many resources in fixing the roads and policing this? You guys want it so bad, so this would be...
I don't want anything, but I understand what you're saying.
Sure. Well, yeah, the ORV guys want a trail, and so in order to come up with a compromise, there's got to be some give and take, or when police can't be involved, then you guys need to take over and make sure people are following the laws. Because
exactly.
Like you said, there are bad apples.
So what we do in Lake County is the sheriff actually challenged a group to become, which are now Manistee Forest ORV Club.
Okay.
And that club, honestly, Howard went out last Saturday. He's one of the founders of the club, Howard and Dave, and I've just kind of been a resource. There was a complaint on Stearns and Dexter Road of donuts, and Howard went out himself and checked it out that day. If it's something where I need to be involved, he's got my number.
Perfect example.
But he actually determined that one of them was actually a pickup truck, not an ORV, by the size of the tires and the distance that it was using, and I actually went later on that day when I was on patrol and looked at it, I agree with him.
Right.
However, it came out as, it was ORVs.
Sure.
So, having said that, the sheriff challenged a group of people who wanted this, just like this, to make a club and be that resource.
Okay.
And that is what MFO really is. They're not a riding club. They're not. I mean, we're more of a resource. We're more of a, Howard's really active on Facebook. And, you know, that's how we're getting the message out, because Facebook's hot. And you know, if it's on Facebook,
yep,
that'd be true.
Yes.
I'm kidding.
So, actually, two things. The classification of ORVs, of course, now we got the side-by-sides, you can get them manufactured, street legal. The difference in the tires. So, you can't, I don't ride, but I'm sure there are very, very aggressive tires that are not pavement approved. So they're not DOT approved.
Correct.
So with that being said, I mean, how, with riding through town, I mean, you're gonna get a lot of, you know, misconception complaints that, oh, I got the ORV riding on the road. So again, that falls back to the education portion of this. So my other part is that the enforcement portion, Sheriff Kwiatkowski and I had a conversation about this, because the way the ordinances are set up in our townships around here, we're not seeing, the township's not really seeing a whole lot of revenue coming in for infractions, and it's because on how they're written up by, say, the DNR, because
They write
you
state
can't
law.
have sheriff out here, so the DNR writes it up. So, in your area, over in Lake County, does you have DNR over there that write enforcement or tickets? So, are they under the understanding on how to write the ticket properly to where those monies are funneled to where they're supposed to go per the ordinance?
So they do not enforce the local ordinances by the directive of their division, their bosses. So when they write a ticket, it's a state ticket, which we can also write. I can write that state ticket, or in some cases, it's the very same violation as an ordinance. Obviously, I would probably opt to write an ordinance ticket if I had that option. However, there's times where I write the state ticket instead. But yes, that is why that is that. It's being written per their directive from above. So it really falls back on us as a sheriff's department to handle this, really.
So not even with, you know, the partnership collaboration, it's still up to their discretion?
Their boss is not really even the officer discretion, they're being told.
Okay, somebody else have a question over there?
Yeah,
Sure.
kinda offbeat. I'm working on a antique moped, 48 or 52 cc's. I'll be on the main roads. What's the speed limit for that? 25?
Is it gonna be licensed as a moped?
Yes.
It'll be played with them.
So then it would be no faster than 30 on a moped.
Depends on the CCs of the
Okay.
moped.
Now, do you have to wear a helmet on that too?
Not if you're over 18.
Right, not on a moped.
Pardon me?
Not on a moped if you're over 18.
Slightly over 18.
I don't want to hate, guys.
I'm not giving you my date.
Sorry, one
Yes.
more little. So we were talking about Boone Road and all those roads where people just think that they're not a main road, they're gonna go fast, they're gonna tear it up. From my understanding, in the Dirt Birds, this trail will be marked with 25-mile-an-hour signage. So that's gonna help at least 20% of the people to understand. I mean, we've had problems with snowmobilers and quads and trucks, and I mean, I live on a gravel road. I get upset when somebody spins it up right after county just got done chloriding, but I live on a gravel road, and that's just, you know, kind of what happens. But hopefully, with the grants, and I know that grants aren't always, but as this gets bigger, these types of roads will get taken care of. I paid for snowmobile tags for years, and that, at the beginning, that $10 tag went to take care of the trail. So hopefully with the money that me, myself, puts in on all these trail stickers for my quad can go towards keeping some of these roads up.
Yeah, let me ask you that, okay, so snowmobile trails go for grooming snowmobiles, where does all the ORV and ORV trail sticker money go? And I see a smile. I see a smile, it's like I don't wanna lose my job.
Oh, no, well, that's my other hat. So, my other hat is, I keep picking my phone up because I want to sit on it, because I broke it once. So I keep shoving it back in. So I'm actually the chair of the ORV Advisory Work Group for the state of Michigan. We make recommendations from user group to the DNR for things. Sticker money is in our realm. Basically, the sticker money, as it speaks right now, goes to sheriff's departments for patrol of trails, maintenance of trails, purchase of trails, and large projects for trails. So those stickers that you buy are earmarked by law to stay with the DNR, the state trails. So right now, to answer your question, and I don't want to say anything bad at this moment, but there's going to be no money from those stickers going to any roads at this time. And our big project right now is to buy equipment for the clubs. So that's where we're working to get that. That's our project. So yeah, unfortunately, that's a no-no. That's where I, again, reiterate, state countywide ordinance.
Okay, and that's great, thank you very much for that. So, a couple of things that I want to enter, and I want the rest of the board to make any comments they have. Sheriff Gutowski and I disagreed on a couple other alternate trails, just because he's thinking more of safety, I'm thinking more of police presence and roads that won't get tore up. And also, you know, one of the big things is that right now, when I look at this, and I think anybody that looks at this, is you're bypassing us. You're using us as a pass-through to go from Baldwin to Benzie, or wherever they're going north, and we're just a pass-through. If we brought a trail that went down Baker, one option is coming straight up High Bridge to one of our other good dirt roads, which is Steinberg, thank you, which is Steinberg, bringing it into Seaman Road, down Seaman Road to Hoxeyville, past the Dublin store, go out what we call that Seaman Road again, but it's Brooks Road going to Iron, the 12 miles, and they can shoot right on 12 miles. They're on Tarby 90% of the time, and on one of our best dirt roads. The other would be bringing them up Baker Road, crossing 55, going down Forest Road, which is the road that goes behind M55 Market, which comes out right at Seaman Road, back down the same southerly road, Seaman to Hoxeyville to Seaman Brooks, out to 12 miles. That also brings us into the advantage of you reach 99% of all of our businesses, you're within 200 feet of water. So now you're coming into our town, and the benefits of big groups, big rides will be there. And the benefits to this board is those Tarby roads will be easier to maintain. They will be policed by everybody's eyes in this room instead of one or two sets of eyes out in the woods somewhere that we don't see. Sheriff likes them out there, and I understand why, because it's safer, there's less interaction with traffic. I mean, that is a downside to it, that there'll be more interaction with traffic. Tim Corbin came up with a good idea, you know, hybrid. You got school buses, you got a lot of school kids, that's a busy intersection, 55, that's a bad intersection. That's a terrible intersection, came from the fire department. I did speak with road commission, sheriff, fire department guys, what do they see safety-wise? So, there's no good answer for this, where to bring them up. But the one thing that we have is Tarby Road is gonna be easier to maintain. We don't have money to maintain dirt roads. We struggle to try to get the dirt roads that we have now maintained. Luckily, our new road manager is a change from the prior one, and he works amazingly with us. The roads, I think, for most people in Norman Township, I've heard nothing but, wow, what a difference in this last year. So they're doing a really good job, but we also have to help them that we don't bury too. So that is my thought, that there are alternative routes by Baker and by High Bridge, Steinberg, Forest, Seaman, and then you're out Tarby.
See, you just eliminated my bar.
Yeah. Well, Billy, the trail now is, and I'm not, the trail now, you're the only one that gets to do the trail now. So I mean, that's the other issue that we have. So now that I've made that point, I pissed off some people that want to make comment. That's okay. That's what we get. Discussion is how we get to the right idea. Yes, sir.
I was just gonna say, as a rider, there are hundreds of places in the state where the trail bypasses the town, and then there's a route that goes through town. This is how you access all the business Baldwin is a very good example of that. The trail goes right around it, but there's a trail that's clearly marked. This is how you access it. The other problem is, as a rider, riding that many busy paved roads gets really dangerous, because you have a lot of people who ride within feet of the back of your machine. And, you know, a lot of times I'm out there with a kid on the back of my quad with me, and having somebody rolling the horn at you, riding right on you, when you're not supposed to go over onto the gravel shoulder to let them run like they want you to. That's,
No, I get it.
Staying on the dirt, staying out of town is the better option. And people are going to detour that way themselves if the trail goes down from those things.
I get it. And that's the thing, this should be a countywide ordinance, first and foremost, so that we can set up more like this officer from Lake County. It would work much better. We begged the county to do an ordinance, and this is before Commissioner Coombs was on there, she was not part of that. We begged, a countywide ordinance would make more sense. I'm trying to think who was the sheriff when that went through, but I remember him shaking his head, he's like, I have 13 different ordinances, you know, and that's tough on them. So we do need that, but we do need the quad. A lot of people do love them too, so yes, sir, good.
Yeah, I just wanna say thank you. Obviously, we're off-road riders, we prefer to be off-road, but we wanna work with townships to come up with what you see as the best way. And that's why we chose to come to board meetings and get on the agenda, so that we don't want anything hidden. We want everybody to know what's going on, and we want everybody's input to make sure this is the safest and the best for the community. So I thank you for allowing this to go longer than 3 minutes, and to
I spent 3 minutes per person. And no, we have to discuss it. It is something that we need, but we need to, no matter what we do, we're gonna make somebody mad.
Right. And we're happy with using some paved roads. We prefer not to, but we're happy as long as, you know, if we can get through town or get into town, it'd be great.
Yeah, I wish we had more snowmobile trails, but we just don't. I mean, snowmobile trails just don't work for the way you wanna go over those. Yes?
So while I understand the concern, like what you were saying with drivers, I'm not an ORV driver or a rider. I barely drive my own car. But one of the main issues that, as a driver, I have with the ORVs is you never know where they're gonna be. So like on your way to work or something, the frustrating part is randomly having an ORV and you're like, what the heck am I supposed to do? Where if they do have a set route, I think that will give respect to the driver as well as the ORV driver. In that situation, I mean, yeah, it's gonna make people mad, but at least they can be pre-mad instead of mad at that moment and then drive recklessly.
Well, we run into that.
Well, okay, so we're at the point now. Sheriff, do you have anything else you wanna add?
I don't think so.
Okay, Chief.
The high bridge route, I would strongly suggest the township not consider that. We have a fatality on that corner every year. They're high-speed accidents, and people die in that corner every year. And so if we can bring them down Baker, they're crossing into town, people are coming a little bit slower. The fire department's eyes, that is a far superior route than crossing M55 at high speed. And so, that's my opinion.
And I have one other question. If we pass this, and the township then say, just, let's say it's, I'll pick any road, let's say it is the South Tower Line, Laverne Road, that hill gets tore up, can we shut it down? I mean, do we have to come back to you and ask your permission to shut it down, or do we have full authority to shut it down?
We're asking your permission to utilize your roads.
So if we allow a trail, and you print all these maps, and we shut down, what are you gonna do?
We gotta find a reroute, or say, sorry, we're done with this area.
Okay. I mean, I just wanna make sure that we weren't giving up, you know, because sometimes when we do these government things, we give up authority on certain things, and I just wanna.
Yeah, and, sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, and just so you know, this does not make it legal. We still are working with the county, the DNR, and the Forest Service.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there a way to bypass that South Tower Line hill prior to all this?
No, that's the thing, when you look at the map, you think, yes, there's just not. There's just not, I mean, it's either here or there, there's just not a lot of, I mean, there's that Connolly Road thing, but that road won't.
And that swamp over there is what?
And that swamp, it
27
won't
PC?
take 20 machines on a rainy day. It would tear up.
So make to it.
Tim?
So that location that we're talking about, if it ends up being a problem, is that something that you guys as a club can come into a township to try to repair, make better?
No.
Let's say you come across, I don't know.
County roads have to be touched by county road commission workers.
And that we're talking about is county road.
Well, any road in our kind of, yeah, is controlled by the county road. Like, it's actually, I don't know if it's legal, but it's frowned upon, like you drop your personal snowplow on a road. No, you can't even do that. Even if you're like, hey, this person can't get out, you can't touch roads, because there was an instance 8-9 years ago. I'm actually thinking Jerry Peters was still the road manager. Somebody came out and did a little grading on a road, and they made it look really nice and smooth. They took the gravel off the road and they made a sand blow. Somebody hit that going too fast, died. There were some issues there. The county was responsible for somebody touching the roads. You can't touch county roads in any way. They can't, it has to be done by county road. So that's what we can.
So again, fire department wise, let's strongly try to keep them off any of our tar roads, Sorry Rich.
Okay, that's fine. No, that's what this is about.
Seaman also is a busy road. I ride ORV, and you also have to deal with the people that don't like you on the road. They're just as bad as sometimes as people tearing up the roads, and people like Billy and Annie and everybody, if they can put signages out for their businesses. That's what they used to do back in the day when I snowmobiled.
Yep.
Hey, you go 2 miles this way, you got food or gas. So if it doesn't come right past,
And our maps.
and
will have-
their maps will also show it.
Okay, so I guess right now, I want to close the public comment down. I think we're at that point. Board members, what, does any of you want to have any comment?
Same thing, definitely not on hybrid, just between people.
Well, if that's it, I guess we're at the point now, we can move on, and we have to, the board will have to make a motion to choose either the route they propose and do this, or not do this, or choose an alternate route, do it or not do it. So I think we're at that point. I think we've heard a lot of good and reasonable talk and communication, and that's the only way we get things done. Effective.
You tried a side by side, do you like the trail?
Depending on where you're going. I mean, I've probably been down 90% of every road in this township, so.
In my
And
opinion,
I'm part of part of that too, in Lake County. So,
the, like, power line, consumers owns the power line, correct? From Robinson Road to 55?
According to the Manistee County ORV allowance map, that's all open. That's part of the county.
Consumers gave written permission to that?
Well, apparently the county owns the road that goes through consumers.
Down the power line itself, if it's a metal tower, you're not allowed to get on the slot.
So
If
there
it's
is.
a wood, if it's just a wood one, then yes, you can go down.
So-
From my understanding. I got pulled over on it, that's why I know.
But they're changing the wood ones to metal.
Okay, but
Yeah.
hold on. Deputy Chief Meltzer, he called for me on this, because I was doing people like your contact. So what did consumers tell you about in front of Robinson Boat Law?
Okay, consumers from 55 to Robinson Road is basically forest, US forest. Okay, up to, right at where Robinson comes down and makes that bend down to the boat launch, there's a section right in there that is consumers. I call their security. If somebody owns property within an area that has access, they can go there. They're allowed to. If not, it's trespassing. That's the way I was told from consumers. If their property is such, that is trespassing. So there's a section, I don't know how large it is, but it's a little triangular section right there. this part of it. Now, that being said, I don't think there'd be a problem, I really don't. But, I don't know, that's what I found out.
Yeah, I had him check that area for me on the, what they call the north power line or power line. Okay, anything? It's, yeah, quasi legal. I mean, I'm sure like in the eighties, if the tower started getting undermined, they could, you know, they have to power
I
lines.
honestly think, but unless the person is completely new to the area, that's the route they would.
Yeah, check with this is normal.
Yeah, attorney side.
All right, so, well, I think we're good with closing public comment. And we can move on to new business, which the first one's ORV trails. Everybody good with that? Okay. So, new business, ORV trails. Does anybody want to make a motion for or against, or whichever route for any of this?
So are we waiting on anybody else's permission for this? The Forest Service is,
No, every township, every village.
I'm
It's
talking
not
just
both.
across the property that,
What's it say?
just across the property that this route is gonna go on, this part of the route is gonna go on.
The US Forestry came down from Washington, they have to open up. If the roads get bad, Andrew Stanford has the ability to tank trap them and shut them down. I mean, if they get too bad, but it sounds like the forestry, they can work on it and maintain because it's not county roads, so that would be them working with US Forestry. So. Well,
Well, my thought is that whether you change the route or not,
There's something
you're
going
gonna
away.
use that route.
Probably better off to go with the proposal route that they want, otherwise it's just gonna do what they're gonna do it anyway.
It's already.
Well, not them, not
It's
their.
already-
Not necessarily, it wasn't like that before.
But they haven't.
It was never road like it is now.
Oh, I understand what you're saying.
Okay. Not necessarily. They're not just gonna take that route.
well, and that's
If
where,
if there's another proposal.
that's where the township board needs to be ready. That if Bow Road, or if South Power Line Laverne Road gets tore up, we have to shut it down.
It's a mess.
We cannot,
I live on
we cannot let people that have a small voice, because of a small number, just be rolled over. So that's, we have to be prepared.
Wasn't it Memorial Day weekend?
Okay, so,
Memorial Day weekend, they tore all the beaches.
They,
wasn't it?
every weekend
Yeah.
it's for.
oh, okay.
One I see was Memorial Day.
Okay, so hold on, it's up, we gotta sit with the board, does anybody wanna make a motion to approve? One would be a motion to approve the proposed trail that runs, let's call it along the backwaters. Or a motion to find an alternate route, or to not do anything at this point. So I need a motion for somebody to do something. Baker to Forest. Forest is the two track that goes behind Edward Farm. Forest Trail to Seaman, to Hoxsville, to Seaman Brooks. Going out to Boulder. That would be the only, I searched, we rode these roads, could not find an alternate trail. There isn't a good, there just isn't.
I'll make the motion to the original proposed route.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. 4-1. Okay. All right, so generator. So we got our bids on the, attachment roll-on generator. And we had the bid for the 8,000 watt electric start generator, Generac was $1170. The home link, transfer switch, $750, labor to install, $3,500. The cord and disconnect, $180, and the interlock switch, $50. I don't think we should go with that generator. It's basically at their cost plus tax, so I don't think they told us last time when they were here, they're not heartbroken over that. Because I think we can get a generator that runs dual fuel, so we can run on propane. If we lose power, gas stations lose power, can't get gas. So that would be an issue. And propane's more efficient. So that's my thought. Anybody else?
So you're still proposing a portable?
A portable, yes, because it covers within that $4,000 grant that you received.
I reached out to the, power grant people, I talked to Jennifer Venema and what was her name? Katerina today, to find out if they would, support the change to a portable using the 4,000 grant. I was told no, we would have to reapply. Then I said, well, is this something you fund? They said, we have never funded a standalone generator unless it was for a transfer station.
Okay, that's good enough.
So,
Okay, so, we don't want generators. So does anybody else want to go through with any of the other generator grants? Is it going, where it sounds like we can do this, but we pay for the whole 5,600, or we can do the, what were they, $10,000 to $26,000 generators. You know, the Genrex.
right.
You
There
know,
was,
one you mentioned. Go ahead. What were your?
there was a, bid for around $10,000. I think it was a 22 kilowatt. I think it was Jim Leach Mechanical. We had that at the last meeting. So that would have, covered the 4,000 would be approved for that. And so that puts us back at around the 6,000, which is the same as a portable.
I think the only difference would be is we wouldn't have any of the yearly operating costs.
I don't feel we need a generator at all. But that's up to you guys. Does anybody want to make a motion to buy any type of generator?
I don't know, I thought it worked out that if they would have, if Farwood gave you money for what we have doing.
So I just don't think we need power enough for long enough to have to worry about it. Anybody?
Well, I'd like to see one. I brought it forward, so of course I'd like to see one.
If you want to make a motion, you can.
Well, I'd make a motion to purchase the one that was roughly the 10,000 from Jim Leach, utilizing the 4,000 power grant.
Anyone second? Okay. Let's move on to number 3, the master plan. It looks like we're over the hours by roughly 26 for Dr. Townsend to keep working on the master plan. We approved 50. I would like to approve an additional 100. So that I know they won't go there, but I think we need an additional 100 because we're moving and we need to keep this thing moving. Right now, we're making more headway in the last 3 months than we've made in the last 3 years.
So that's the 100 to include the overage that they've already done?
Yes, so it would be 150 total at this point. Anybody second that?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
4 to 1. All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you all for coming. Now we're-